Hey everybody, welcome to week 4 of the Empowered Success Business Training. We're really excited that you're here and thanks so much for watching the replay. We're in for a treat tonight. It's going to be a really great topic. I hope that if you haven't had time to watch last week's videos or do any of the homework, that you can circle back around, and when you have the time that you can fit that in, because there's some really great content there and some awesome examples of how to teach a class or a one-on-one or even how to talk about the business. So Paul's going to start us off here tonight.
Well, here we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Always professional. I just wanted to touch up real quick, follow up with what we talked about last week and tie that into what we're going to talk about this week. Last week we talked a little bit about, or a lot about actually, how this business is a relationship business. And just because you enroll someone, that doesn't mean that the relationship is over. That actually, when you enroll someone, your relationship is really just beginning. And the wellness consult is the perfect thing to do to solidify that relationship and to set expectations for that relationship and so on. And within that, and Lena's going to talk more about this, but within that wellness consult, you can help your clients learn how to use their oils and maximize their memberships and start to develop a wellness lifestyle. Now, the key to success in doTERRA is teaching people how to use their oils and the other products. And as they do, they'll need to buy more and they'll start to share because they work really well. And you shouldn't try to sell oils for volume. Remember, we talked about helping people solve their problems. And so you should recommend that your clients buy oils for the same reasons that you do, and that's to, solve problems. So you have to know what their problems are, which requires a relationship. And before someone's going to share their problems with you, they have to trust you, which requires a relationship. So you can see where I'm going with this. And you might be thinking like, wait, I don't have time to have these long conversations with everyone every month. And you're absolutely right. No one's going to expect that, especially as your organization grows. You're going to have hundreds and then even, more than that, even thousands of people in your downline. You can't have hour-long conversations with everybody in your downline, and you don't need to. You can schedule regular check-ins with the people who need it, and depending on what their clients need and how long they've been using their products and so on. So that could be, monthly, weekly, or it can be every 6 months. You put it in your calendar. Keep a spreadsheet of people of the last time you contacted them, the next time you want to contact them, and the notes. And some notes in there. I like using spreadsheets for that. And then you can reach out to people about the BOGOs or the other sales incentives, especially if it's around a product that they like. And it doesn't have to be a long, hour-long conversation. It can be simply a text. Have you been using your Serenity at night, and how's that going? And based on the response, you can take the conversation forward or go a different direction. And the important thing is, and you've heard it a million times, that fortune is in the follow-up. That is so true. The money you make off your enrollment is minuscule compared to the money that you make on, months and months of LRP. And the only way that someone's going to keep their LRP flowing like that is if the product is doing its job and you're doing your job as a consultant or a mentor to them. And with that, I want to turn it over to Lena, and she's going to talk more about the details of what to do in these interactions.
Okay, thumbs up if you can hear me. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So to briefly give you a background of what a wellness consult is, I want to first say that, actually, let me see if you guys can see can you see the launch guide? Yeah. This shows you in doTERRA, they call it a lifestyle overview. You can call it a lifestyle overview, a membership overview, a wellness consult, whatever you want to call it, but it's basically our second touch point with our client or our customer. And so when you have had them at a class and they have committed to buying the product, they've really, and we've talked about that before, how they get to that point, how they really decide to make a choice to get the product. Now they've got to commit to this lifestyle change. And so the best way for this to happen is for us to be able to follow up. And we don't ever want that to be something just out of the blue. We call them, a week after they enroll and say, hey, I've got time on my schedule if you want to schedule, a time for us to chat and learn a little bit more about the product. That's really got to come, way, way before that. I would consider doing it even before you invite them to the class, saying something like, when you come to the class, you're going to be learning XYZ, but just so you know, there will be a part B or a section 2 or an essential oil 201 or however you want to call it, where I can re-educate you and help you to learn more about how to use the things that you get yourself at the class. And so for me, while I'm in the class, sometimes I call it a part 2. I think Emily learned that at one of our leadership trainings. And so we'll say while we're teaching the class, as you're closing, this is part 1 of our health and wellness class, but our part 2 is going to be just you and I together on a 30-minute phone call so that they know it's set aside. It's a time for them to be able to learn how to use the things that are going to come in the mail. Everything that they have just learned is super intimidating and overwhelming. I actually had that remark today. I don't typically teach on Sundays, but I have a gal who needed to do a little get together today. And so I went to her home and she had some friends there and we made a couple of oils for the gals to take home. And at the end of the discussion, one of them had said, this is really overwhelming. I feel like I want to do all of it. I don't know what to start with. And I just sat down next to her and I put my hand on her shoulder and I said, you're so lucky because you have already chosen to get yourself a membership, and that membership will entitle you to 30 minutes with me. We can sit down together and go to lunch, or we could do this over the phone, and I will teach you exactly how to maximize your membership so you know exactly how to get the 25% off and use the website. And I say it's like Amazon Prime. And then the second thing is really being able to enable you to get started with these products right away. And we can unbox it together if you want to do it on the phone. And I can teach you exactly how to use every single thing that you ordered. And that's really helpful. That really relieves a lot of the tension that they're feeling or anxiety that they're feeling. And then the third thing I say that's also super important, because this is what's going to secure a long-term relationship with them and just longevity within doTERRA, is I say, we're also going to create a 90-day health plan with your top 3 health goals. Because in the Natural Solutions Guide, which was last week when you learned how to teach a class, you're teaching from the guide, and the guide shows them, there's a section where they will write down in the class their top 3 health concerns. It'll say, there's a section that says, what are 3 things you want to feel more of, and what are 3 things you want to feel less of? And so you can focus on those things in your wellness consult as they come up. And we're going to talk about what kinds of questions you can ask them. But I don't want to make today's call all about the wellness consult. I actually want to talk more about how we nourish our network. If you want to know exactly how to do a wellness consult, I've recorded several of them. So I will post them to the Facebook page so you can see exactly how we do that. But as a fundamentals, or just to sort of understand the basics of it all, it's our second touch point. It's the opportunity for us to communicate with our existing clients and to further educate them on the products and on how to use the products, more importantly. Okay, so back to Canva, if I can find where it is. Oh, just a sec, my doesn't want to go up, so I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Awesome. Oh, let me pull up the chat. Looks like there's something there. Yes, Daniel, you agree. I just got my first Home Essentials kit and feel like I don't know yet how to use them or get started. I'm looking forward to meeting with Eric and Emily to go over it. Yes, exactly. So that's perfect. That's a perfect example. You've got this brand new kit in the mail. You have no idea what to do with it, and you're going to need someone to train you, but also you're going to need someone to show you how to use doTERRA.com. And so when I say maximize your membership, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying we're going to get you in a space where you can earn all these free points and get free products and all of that. But before you get there, you want to make sure that they know that it's coming. It's not just out of the blue and you're calling them a weekend. Okay, so nourishing our network is nourishing the people that we've already sold products to. Now, whether this is a wellness consult or beyond, this is what's going to be the sustainable part of your business. And as Paul talked about last week, this is a relationship business, and we really want a healthy, thriving people business. That's what we want out of all of this. And whether or not you're the type of person that is, what do they call it, like type A, or you are introverted, extroverted, you are a square, a triangle, a squiggly line, what's all the other tests? You are yellow, you're red, you're green, you're blue, you're white, whatever personality or strength you have in whatever capacity or experience that is, you need to deepen this principle of being able to nourish your network. And I think it was Robert Kiyosaki, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, that said, oh gosh, I just forgot the quote. Your network is your nourish. Wait, I just forgot. The value of your network is your net worth. What's that quote?
I think it's the value of your net worth is the value of your network or something.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Close enough. Thanks. So I just want you to think about that the more you nourish what is already there, the more likelihood that you're going to have a long-lasting, thriving doTERRA business, okay? So as you are thinking about nourishing your network, I want you to think about yourself in general. What do you bring to the table? What do you sort of bring into a room when you walk in? I like this question. How often do I make other people feel important in my presence? This is $1 million question because we want to be able to add value every single place we go. So take a picture or write this down or ask yourself this question. How often do I make other people feel important in my presence? Okay, so as we add value, we will find that our businesses will also grow. We kind of talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how I was saying that I sat next to someone on a plane and I was in the right frame of mind. I was in my diamond energy. I was being very present and positive and sharing, my light, my goodness, and the person next to me struck up a conversation. Typically, I wait for that to happen. Sometimes there may be something that draws me in first, but I just want to emulate light and emulate goodness so that others want to talk to me, and they think to themselves, like, what does she have? She's got a secret sauce. Like, I want to be her friend. And so Tony Robbins always says that dollars follow value. So if you are bringing value to the table, if you're creating value wherever you go and sharing things, whether it's free content or just free friendship, like if someone comes to you or they're a friend and they have their son needs help with like a math tutor, right? You might not know somebody, or you might not be great at math, but you might know somebody who is. And so you can share that as a resource. You can always be someone that shares value. Okay, now the questions that we ask for, who do we nourish? This is really important because obviously we want to nourish what we already have, but thinking about people who are already in your corner is really important, especially on the days where I feel discouraged and I've gotten a lot of no's, or I've reached out and I haven't gotten any phone calls or texts back from people within my community or other people that have been interested, come to a class and haven't enrolled. I start to think about who in my back office, who in my structure are my consistent LRP orders? Who are the people that are using the product and so committed to the product and that show up? They show up for online classes, they're commenting on the Facebook page, they are present and showing up somewhere, whether it's an incentive, a BOGO, whatever it is. Those are the kinds of people that you want to reach out to, that you want to have as close to you in your corner as you possibly can. So those will be the people that most likely will host most of the classes that you would like on the calendar. Those can be the people that you reach out to if you're in search of extra volume for the month and you're thinking to yourself, okay, if I have a special promotion for this team, for this portion of my team, then it can bring extra volume there and that can help you hit your rank. So you could say to this group of friends or this group or this community on your team, we're going to do a special promotion this month. If you buy $50 in product, we'll give you $50 in product. And so you can match whatever they buy. And you can come up with these different bonuses and these incentives based on where you need volume on your team. So you're nourishing areas of your team that really need that support, but that also are showing up for you. So I would never just go into, a portion of my team and provide all these freebies for them if they haven't bought anything or they haven't showed up for anything in a long time. And the only times that I would do something like that is as like a special what do they call that? Like reinvigorate, or like a special loyalty customer promotion, where even doTERRA does it a couple times a year. If someone hasn't ordered in 6 months or 12 months, then doTERRA offers, a free oil or 2 oils for that, which is fine, but it's not a chance where I'm going to give them 50-50, right? I'm not going to reward them with $50 in product if they buy 50, if they haven't been showing up or using the product, because then they're only going to show up when you provide these massive incentives. And so, like, those are the people Emily described them one time as, what did she say? Like, they're just the people that are money grabbers. They like everything free. Like, they go somewhere because they know they're getting free hot dogs, and they take like 10 free hot dogs, even though they don't need them. I don't know if that makes sense, or if you know people like that, but it's that mindset of like, well, it's free, so I'm just going to do it now. And then when you need them to provide volume and you're not giving out incentives, then they're going to be totally mute. They're not going to show up, and they're going to be gone. And then thinking also about who you should nourish. Who are the people on your team or in your community that you're drawn to, that you look up to? So not just people that are fans of you, but who are you fans of? And how can you develop those relationships? How can you find a common connection and cultivate that so that they can show up for you, so that they can bring their friends to a class, so that they can even host a class for you? And then, are there people within your network or within your community or even outside of your community that you idolize or that do the same things as you and influence people and have this similar interest within your industry that you can connect with? This is a really valuable tool. I have so many what we call cross-line relationships in doTERRA with people that we're essentially competing in our field, but we find these opportunities to work together and to provide free content for all of our teams, because as a whole, we're bringing more people in, we're educating more people and cultivating these relationships and supporting, and it's all good, right? All good things. So instead of living in that mindset of scarcity and like, oh, she's on a different team, so I don't want to share what my team is doing. Instead, we live in a very abundant mindset where we share the things that we know, because we know that it essentially is bringing more people into doTERRA. And that's always a good thing. And then the last one, who do we nourish? Making sure that we're not always focused on finding someone new, reaching out. Oh, Emily says she calls them grabby grabbies in the chat. The people who just like show up for the free stuff, she calls them grabby grabbies. It's true, right? They go just for the free stuff. And I'm trying to get my kids to not be like that, but I do notice that, even at Chuck E. Cheese or wherever, and there's like little quarter things, and they're just going to break it in 5 seconds. I'm like, it's okay. You don't need it. Daniel and Paul and I were talking about that before, just like living with too many things you don't need. You got to relinquish that and live in a free space to allow more. Yes. What's this? Do you look for other doTERRA influencers, or do you actually find other network marketers and other home businesses? Both. So this is really awesome. Emily does this too. So we like to reach out to people that do network marketing, that they're not competing against us, but they have a similar mindset. So for us, one of them is Beauty Counter. Beauty Counter is a very natural makeup line. I do, both for Emily as well. On my Instagram, I work with other companies, not always in network marketing, but definitely other competing companies as far as health products go. And I promote them and they promote me because we have a similar clientele. We have a similar client base. And so that's a good question. For existing clients, what I was saying is just trying not to focus so much on, who's my next enrollment going to be and trying to enroll all the people all the time. It's actually this really cool thing that doTERRA does. It's almost like they work in seasons, and you'll see it the longer you're in the company, but they provide promotions based on what that season has brought forth in the past. So sometimes they do promotions that they're pushing enrollments 1 month. So they'll do a lot of enrollment incentives. And then for the next couple months, you'll start to see that they're doing actually loyalty order promotions. So it goes like high enrollment, and then they want you to really nourish your network for a couple of months. So they'll offer incentives for placing certain LRP benchmarks. Okay, so that's just really cool and something to pay attention to, and something I always want to work with in doTERRA. I don't want to go against the grain. I don't think it's right for us to push, enrollment incentives on the months that doTERRA is doing LRP incentives. What's really cool is we like to add more bonus to those who are placing loyalty orders. So we're almost like we're just adding more to the pile, more gold to the, I don't know. I'm bad at idioms. Paul can tell you. Okay, anyways, just bear with me. I'm looking at my notes. Okay, this one's good too. So making sure that we really take the time to appreciate other people. It's one thing to text someone, but it's another thing to write someone a handwritten letter. That really goes a long way. I find that when I have taken the time to send someone a package or send someone an oil that I just want to thank them for being a customer, or, anything like I have noticed or been aware of something coming up in their life, that has gone a long way. Think about when you have gotten flowers delivered to you or gotten a special package delivered to you and it wasn't your birthday, right? Or it wasn't your anniversary, or it wasn't Christmas or Valentine's Day. And it was just because gifts or handwritten notes go a really long way, especially for our clients. Like I had a client that was a little bit disgruntled. She, for one reason or another, she was just upset. And so I went to Trader Joe's and I got everything that I knew she would love. And I sent her this package in the mail. And she called me and texted me and said that her husband and her were floored that I would take the time to go out and do this for her and send her these things that I know she could love. And she has specific dietary needs. And so that was important to her. And it's solidified. I mean, the woman's been on LRP at 180 PV every month, and she really, really, truly loves and is devoted to the supplements and to the products. And I think she'll continue to do that as long as we keep having these touch points and these just this nourishment and connection with our community. And then here's another thing. A lot of people get, especially as your team grows, they get caught up in all the things. Like life, it throws a lot at us, aside from doTERRA. And then if you think about what doTERRA is throwing at you and all the things you have to do for that, whether you're doing self-development for yourself, or you're prepping samples for people, or you're prepping for a class, or you're teaching a class, you're driving to a class, or you're enrolling people, you're having wellness consults, you're trying to meet with builders, and you're mentoring your team, right? These things need to be scheduled. So in order to nourish your network, you have to make that a habit as well. So one thing that I would suggest is putting it on your calendar as an alarm. So like every other Friday, it'll say like RN for relationship nourishment. So it's a chance for you to go, okay, I can write, 4 thank you cards today, or I can, I don't know, send this person this package. Whatever it is, it's a time for you to actually schedule it in and make it a habit. And that way it gets done. Otherwise, it won't get done. And then connection calls are really important. These are actually getting on the phone with your existing clients, with future clients, and building these relationships, because people are really truly going to buy from those that they know, like, and trust. If they've been a client of yours before, if they have purchased retail, if they have purchased from a BOGO, however they've been in contact with you in your business, they're most likely going to buy from you again. So it's going to take you reaching out to them, connecting with them, following up with them. Sometimes it's even just, how are you doing? And what's new for you? And what can I do to support you? Rather than, hey, I'm having this sale. Like every time you reach out to them, you don't want it to be all about doTERRA. If you're really cultivating connection and these relationships with people, it has to be things outside of doTERRA as well. Emily just left a comment. Knocked it out of the ballpark. I have a builder who had a friend decide to start building, partly because I sent her a gift when her dog died, and she was touched and felt love for the community. Oh, Emily, that is so sweet. Oh my gosh, Daniel, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Please tell me what you were talking about. I missed that one. That's really funny. He's going to tell us. Oh, it's an idiom. Okay. Obviously over my head because I'm way too Italian, and Paul can tell you I'm ridiculous when it comes to these things, but I try. It's an idiom. Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, people want to be seen, they want to be heard, but also you want to be seen as a resource and that you're adding value wherever you go at all times. That is super, super important. If we go into our nourishing our network with a service mindset, we're really going to end up getting so much more from that experience. So I like the quote, serve more to sell more. So you're basically thinking like, who can I serve today? And am I willing to serve today? Because that's even more important. There's a higher law and a lower law when it comes to service. And the higher law is, how may I show up to serve you, or how may I serve you today? And the lower law is, what's in it for me, right? If we go into a wellness consult thinking, what's in it for me? I cannot wait to get this person on loyalty order so I can get off the phone and eat my lunch. Or are you showing up thinking, I really want to help Ashley today with her autoimmune disease because she's really struggling at work and she has a ton of stress. How can I help her reduce stress so that she has less inflammation and feels better? And I love that the wellness consult is set up in a way, the guide, the Live Guide is set up in a way that you can list things that are outside of doTERRA, right? It gives you what are some doTERRA products that they can use and how can we set up a wish list for the next 90 days. But then it also says there's a section for, outside of doTERRA, what can we do? They can, get more rest. They can drink more water. They can go see Daniel and get chiropractic work. Yes, I love that. Serve more to sell more. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And then this is like the $1 million, I already said there was $1 million question, but there's a lot of goodness in this one. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, good. So feeling heard is like providing oxygen to the relationship. If you ask someone a question, things like, what's your biggest goal or challenge that I can help you with? Or how can I support you in this goal? And then you listen and write it down. Like actually listening is so healing for the relationship, whether it's, a relationship with a builder or a spouse or a sibling, and more importantly with our clients and our customers, right? Obviously those things are important too, but for what we're speaking about, it's so important for these people to feel heard. Tonight at the class, the host said she had 90 minutes and then she had to get to an event. And so we had to keep it short. And one of the gals at the end, she had a lot of questions. And I felt really bad because in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, we got to get out of here. Bree needs us to go. Like I was stressing about that. And then I remembered like this woman clearly has not been heard in a long time. Probably ever. She was talking just about how depleted she is in life and she works for Homeland Security and she's just got all the things on her plate. And so she just needed somebody to listen. And the very moment that I sat down next to her and listened, she enrolled with every single thing that I suggested in the class. Not one of the things, not two of the things, all of them. Simply because I sat down and I listened to her. So listening really does go a super long way. I like the idea that it provides oxygen to the relationship. And Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite quotes, if you help enough people get what they want, then you will get what you want. One of my favorite question. Okay, if you were having this conversation a year from now, looking back over the last year, back to today, what would you have needed to happen for you to feel happy? Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to copy that and paste that. Excuse me while I do that. Paul, can you do it? Because I have the slide up. So good. Yes, Emily. So good. Okay. So another thing too is you've got to have at least quarterly touch points with your VIP clientele. These are people that are your go-getters, right? They share with everybody they know. They're clearly a believer in the product. They are a product of the product. They have no interest in doing the business, but they love doTERRA because they invest their own health and they help so many other people invest in their health with the doTERRA products. These are the people that we really, really need to invest in. So similar to what Emily said, like reaching out because her dog died. That's huge. If you have somebody on your team who's a VIP client and it's their birthday, like you better be sending them a birthday card or flowers even, right? I have a gal that I sent a bunch of stuff from Amazon last week that I've been loving, different like adaptogens and all sorts of, hippy doobie woo stuff that I know helps. And she was just in need of that. And she kind of slightly mentioned to me that she was having a hard time. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice for her to receive a package in the mail? So little things like that can really, really go a long way. And then I like this quote by Wayne Dyer. It's always important to go the extra mile, so it's rarely clouded along the extra mile. Love it. Okay, that's all. Nourish your network. It's important. Let me stop sharing. You can take yourself off mute too.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, it is fun to do it, Emily, because I really like them. Yes, exactly, because you really like them and you really want their friendship and that connection. Want them to feel how much I like them, so it really is natural and genuine. Exactly. I love it. It's got to be. We're all about the people business, a healthy, thriving people business. Sorry, Daniel, what were you saying?
So I've got kids coming in the room right now. So
hi, kids.
We actually have a staff member at my office, because we've been around for almost 40 years, who searches obituaries every day to see if one of our old patients has passed away or if a relative of a patient has passed away, and then we send a letter to family.
That's so amazing.
It's really been just a sweet thing to do, but in the end, we've realized it actually, promotes more business almost, in the end, though that's not our objective.
Right.
Our original objective was to make sure that we didn't send a letter that says, hey, we haven't seen you in a while, when the person has passed away, and have to bring up those nasty feelings to, a spouse or whatever, widower.
That is really smart.
So
yeah, because that would be hard if, someone's spouse had passed away and then they get this in the mail. But you're saying in turn, like, you showing up to serve in that way has showed the living family member, like, oh, this is where Dad used to go, so I should go here too. Right. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Does anyone have any questions though about like wellness consults or nourishing your network, or any takeaways? I sped through it all.
What sort of system do you use to keep track of all your wellness consults and VIP clients and that sort of thing?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
It's echoing, sorry. Okay, so I can pull up for you what I just created for one of my new builders. Do you guys want to see it? Well, not new builder. She's not a new builder, but we were going over some things that could help her improve her turnaround. I'm not saying it right, but that's fine. Okay, hold on. Let me look for it, and then I'll share my screen. It's going to take me a sec, sorry. Okay. It's empty right now, but you'll be able to see it, maybe. So I created it in Google Drive. Okay. Share the screen. So you can kind of see here. Let's see if I can move that over. Do you see the tabs at the bottom?
No.
So, oh, you don't see them? Do you want me to make it smaller? Okay, let me see how I can do that. Do you see the...
No, we can't.
You can see them? Yeah, can you see them too, Daniel? The tabs at the bottom? Yeah, okay. So Here at the top, I've written what this particular tab is about. So this is just connecting with people, but not about doTERRA. And then it's creating like a running tab of how this is all going to work for her. So the date she contacted them, was it a call, a text, or an email? What was their response in detail? And then it moves down from there. And the same thing for sample. So when you sample someone, this is like the progression of things. So you're moving from connecting, to sampling, to inviting. And this is inviting someone to a class or a one-on-one. And then anyone who's been to a class but hasn't enrolled yet, then you need another touch point with them, like a follow-up. Those people who've been to a class but haven't enrolled yet just need an oil experience, another oil experience. Maybe they need another sample even. And then from there, this is tracking wellness consults. So who has enrolled and hasn't yet had a membership overview or hasn't sat down with you since they enrolled. That's what we call like our one night stands, because they enrolled at the class and then they've never been talked to again. And that can happen a lot for a number of reasons. It's not one person's fault or another person's fault. It's more just sort of, oh, what's happening to my computer? Anyway, and then those who are committed users, that's this next tab here. And this is what we would consider our possible hosts. Those who would either invite people to a class or actually host a class. And then those who are committed users who also match our ICA, which is your ideal client avatar. So people that you really vibe with in your oil community who are committed, those are the people you're going to reach out to for a business one-on-one, how to approach them with the business opportunity. And then this would be a list of active builders. So people that are actually sharing and building doTERRA that you need to connect with at least once a day, if not 3 times a week. Okay, 3-4 times a week. Does that answer your question, Paul? Cool. Your prison warden? Oh, Emily, you're with the twins, aren't you? Oh, you're probably with Rose. This is blowing my mind. What's blowing your mind? The little tabs thing I made for Megan? Yeah, I think it's important to keep just like running tabs of all of it. I call that the 8-fold system from, oh my gosh, you're so funny, Emily. I call it 8-fold system, but I didn't invent the idea of it all. I just decided to put it in the Google Drive so that there would be room for us and not just like on a piece of paper. You know, that way we can email it back and forth to each other and I can help support her as her mentor with those follow-ups. If she needs help with wellness consults or if she needs help hosting or teaching classes or whatever, then I can be there to support her through that. You're so funny. Good. What else? What are other questions? Wellness consults, nourish your network.
Lena, I'd love to know, what is your typical week like? I mean, like when you're planning out a week, you know, who to contact and stuff, or, you know, or to go and give a class somewhere. How do you schedule that? What is it that you plan ahead for?
Yeah.
And I know that was kind of week 1, Paul. I promise I paid attention. But I guess I would like to just kind of hear the step for step on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
get ideas of what other people are doing as opposed to theory. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, so I've been doing doTERRA like full-time at home for the last 2.5 years, and Paul has been supporting me through that. So he kind of sees how it all happens, but I would say like it's been more recent that he's been helping me plan out like classes and rank and stuff like that. So up until a couple months ago, it was just me, and then he's supporting me through it. And I feel like the thing that has been most consistent is using this system. Once again, it's called the 8-fold system, and it can be on a piece of paper, or you can do it on the computer like I just showed you. And that is what I stay very consistent in. So I do more than 2 a day, but I'd say 2 a day minimum. So when we talked about like minimum target and outrageous goals, that's where I focus a lot of my like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to contact a minimum of 2 people each day. I'm going to try and figure out like who I want to identify to sample, at least 2 per day. And then moving through those 8 pipes, they're called the pipes in doTERRA, but I call them 8-fold system because there's 8 columns. And so how I set up my week is typically on Sundays. I have this planner, and on Sundays I will write out like what classes I have for the week, or, you know, who I need to contact, who needs a wellness consult. But long before that, I actually plan out my month 6 weeks in advance so that I can start, because I can't really start on July 1st to plan my classes. I need to have my classes scheduled in June for July. And so I look over, I'll show you this guy. Whoop. Can you see this? Okay, so there's a whiteboard there, and on the whiteboard, it'll show areas where we need volume to hit our rank for the next month. And so on that paper, or on that whiteboard, Paul and I like write down, okay, so on this particular leg of our team, we need 4 classes because we need 2,000 in volume, and each class usually generates about 500 in volume. And so we think about, okay, who would be our possible hosts on that leg? And then we decide, are we going to incentivize these people to host, and what are the incentives going to be for hosting, or what are the enrollment incentives going to be for the people that attend the class? And then we focus on like where we need the volume on our team. And that's again like 6 weeks beforehand. And then we go in and we schedule the classes, and we design our month based on where the needs are. So sometimes a whole month can go by and I haven't addressed like an entire leg of my team. And that's not because I'm not thinking about them. It's because I've been focusing a lot of my energy on other areas of my team that Emily likes to call love legs. And love legs are kind of like the weaker spots on our team, rather than focusing on the negative and saying like, oh, this is my weak leg. It's like I can love on and I can give more attention to for a period of time. And that's something I'm working on too. I would like to still support and love and mentor the people who are doing well. And it's all a balance, right? Like, obviously I'm not perfect. Perfect, no. Committed, yes.
But you also got to remember that, you know, as your business gets bigger, you're having builders underneath you. And the reason why we don't need to address all of the legs every month is because a new builder is taking over a leadership role in that area, and they're maintaining that and running that. And so you touch that person regularly, whether it's phone calls, texts, dinners, whatever.
Right.
But you know, you're leading your leaders, and then your leader leads the next group down. You know, that they took over the ownership. You still have your own enrollments on that league, but you don't go after that for revenue.
Yeah, exactly. Like Emily, she's a very, very self-sufficient leader. And so we check in with each other all the time. I would say probably every day at least, or every other day. And so like we're always connected with one another. And then where there's need on her team, like she will let me know if she needs help. You know what I mean? So it's nice that we can communicate with like those people that are really doing it as a business. And we will get to that point with you. Like you will have people that will build. And in the beginning, it might feel like, you know, you're doing it all on your own, because you are, but you're going to quickly find people that will align with your message and what you're sharing, because you already have such a big clientele of folks who trust you. Yes, I feel the same way. Like he says he can't stand waking up not knowing what he's going to do that day. That is totally for sure. So I plan 6 weeks ahead, and then every Sunday I make sure like I have my week planned out. Paul and I sit down together and we look at, okay, what nights can he stay late at work, or what nights can he come home earlier? And we focus on like, you know, where I have specific dinners. Because sometimes my nourishing my network is going to dinner with people. Because I'm trying to, I mean, it's not all about like them hosting a class, but you know, I want to spend time with them so that they know they can trust me, and that's a genuine friendship. And then they're going to be more inclined to host when they find out like this quarter I'm teaching all about hormones. And they're like, oh my gosh, I need to know way more about hormones. So can you come teach a class? Yes, I can. So you continue to develop those relationships. And so then we'll plan together on Sundays, and then every night I do as well. Paul plans every morning. I like to do it before bed just so that I know like what the morning's going to look like. It's easier for me to do that because I have less time in the morning than I do at night. Like I am a night person. He's a morning person. So I can stay up late planning, and where he has to go to bed and he feels a lot better.
I'm already getting tired. So
and I could like go for 3 more hours. So it's true. You're a before bed person too. That way you're not using your brain power first. Yes, that's exactly how I feel.
yeah, my brain works best first thing in the morning as well. So.
That's really funny. But yeah, did that answer your question about how I map things out for the week?
Yeah. I was wondering if you would mind. Sorry, you said something in that that like for the quarter you focus on one subject, like hormones.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I'm still trying to figure out like what I want to talk about in this group thing, and I mean I already have so many other things too, like how to stretch, how to get more energy and stuff. So I'm excited about adding doTERRA to that, and I just want to know. I don't have a lot of direction just yet, and so it's good to find out that you change subjects.
Mm-hmm.
On a quarterly basis or so. So
yeah, I do. And just to briefly talk about that, I've met with 2 people in the last week that are in my industry, but they're not exactly essential oils, but they're in the health and wellness industry. One of them's a business coach and the other one's a food blogger. And the business coach focuses on people who have health and wellness businesses, whether they're physical trainers, chiropractors, all of that. And so at the dinner, I talked to her a bit about her, what advice she would have for folks who work in network marketing that have so many products that they can teach from. And the thing that kept coming to my mind, and she says like, well, I followed you on social media, so I know that you're doing this, is I never want to confuse my client. I never want to put them in a space where they're like, wait, what does she do? And okay, now she's selling laundry detergent, right? So doTERRA sells laundry detergent, but that's not what I'm advertising. So, because they're going to figure out later when they're enrolled, like all that doTERRA offers. So I really have, for the last 1.5 years, maybe even 2 years, focused a lot more on the supplements. And I don't expect everyone on my team to do that. Like I want you and Emily and Crystal, who's on the phone, to find what you're most passionate about. Like Lizzie House, she's a member of our community and she's a builder, and her focus is very much on the emotions oils. So the emotions kit, the emotional aromatherapy line, and those really speak to her, and she has a passion for them. So I would say find the thing that you feel most passionate about that has either 1, helped you, or 2, that you know is going to help your clients, because you want to find what it is that they need and what, pain you're going to solve for them. And so I would say get real comfortable with that product and kind of dive headfirst into that, like whatever that is. And then you can create specialized themes based off of that one product. Like I've gone through sections where I talk just about gut health. And by the way, you can do even emotional health as a theme and simply talk about the supplements, because they help with that too. So the supplements can do so many things, whether it's like boost your immune system, hormonal health, which is what I'm doing now, bettering, your sleep, your energy, any of that. You can just have workshops based on these different themes, still using the same products, or maybe even switching it up a little bit, like making sure you include the supplements and then add in like Deep Blue or add in Clarical. So you can add in these like 1 or 2 separate products within the bundle, because I like to call it like the hormonal health kit. And so I have 4 products within that kit. And so you could create like, I don't know, high interval training kit. I have no idea. Whatever like clientele you're serving. And you could have the Deep Blue Rub and the Deep Blue Polyphenols, which is the anti-inflammatory supplements that are natural with turmeric. And then you could have the supplements, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And so that could be like a specialized kit. Yes, energy, less stress relief. Yes. Daniel, that's so great because it focuses on healthy above the line wellness objective. Yes, totally. Okay, Emily, what did you say? We could plan all night. I've seen it different ways. Some people teach one class over and over. Some people teach different topics in classes. That's true. I just don't ever want to feel like I'm not keeping it fresh. Clearly, doTERRA is going to be great all the time. Like, no matter what, it's never boring. It's not going to be boring to anybody if it's their first time coming to your class. But I do realize that I have a lot of folks on my social media who are there. They're consistent followers and they're devoted and they're going to hang out for a while. And they're the same people who watch my Instagram stories. Instagram stories gets a lot more traction than the actual posts themselves on Instagram. And so because I know I have these committed followers, I don't want to say the same things all the time. So I'm keeping it fresh, but I'm still using the things that I know I'm really good at talking about and that I feel like I have a passion for and that I also have a testimony of. Crystal, I'm so in love with the emotional support side, but I know that's not a major focus for everyone. It makes me nervous not to be faced with something I don't know much about. Yes, I know. That's hard. I think you're going to find whatever it is that really makes you tick, and it might be something different in 6 months. Like for,
I was just say there's nothing wrong in the beginning with just doing essential oils 101.
Oh yeah.
That's how Lena started, that she found her groove from there. But the 101 class is online. You can, use the stuff that doTERRA has given you to be successful in your business. And then as you know more and develop a skill set like Lena has, then, or you have a target audience, first of the year, you want to do weight loss when everybody's making resolutions. You do that sort of stuff. You can customize it, but stick to the stuff first until you get confidence, in the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can never go wrong. I teach essential oil 101 classes all the time, but I just switched it up a little bit now so that I do focus still on the supplements. Like today even. It was a make and take on oils, and I talked about those 5 oils, and then I said, well, I am also really passionate about this, so I'm going to make sure I talk about this. And then they got that too. Because once you hear about the supplements, you can't not get them because they're just that good.
And they're great to LRP as a business owner in this organization.
Emily, it's fluid for sure. I think the most important thing is just to start. Yeah, it all evolves. It totally evolves. That's for sure. Right? You can never compare, like, if this were, a lot of people in doTERRA, especially Presidential Diamonds, compare where they're at is like adulthood, and those who are just starting the business are like babies. So it's like the phase of life. And you can't compare, your baby walking to how you're walking now. And so you're not going to, what was I trying to say out of that? Crawl, walk, run. Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh. I think after so long, I'm not going to be able to blame it on being Italian anymore. It's going to have to just be me. It's a part of me. And be patient. Yes. And be completely 100%. Be patient with your journey and just all of it. I know, like, when I first started talking about the supplements, like, I know exactly who I was talking to, and I'm still shocked and awed that this woman at the gym still orders from me, because that one experience of me talking about the supplements for the first time, after she walked away, I was at a booth at the gym, and after she walked away, I was like mortified. I'm like, what just came out of my mouth? Yes, big picture mindset, totally. Big picture mindset, absolutely. I love it. Did that even answer your question? Pretty sure I went off topic there.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. You're so patient. Thanks for being patient with me. But yeah, I think themed classes would be so fun. And honestly, I don't know if, like, I have no idea how you're going to do it, but I just don't foresee essential oils being like the main thing you talk about at your classes, simply because of what you do. I feel like you're always going to have either like the deep blue polyphenols or the deep blue rub or like the supplements in your classes. And so however you kind of want to do that is totally up to you. Plus, the new doTERRA class guide really lends itself to the supplements and lends itself to creating a health plan rather than just selling someone a kit.
Where's the class guide? Is that on doTERRA.com, or is that one of the pamphlets that you get?
Yeah, so did Emily sent you all the Empowered Success guides, right?
Yeah, yes.
So the second one, the first one is Healthy Can Be Simple, and it's little. And the second one is called the Natural Solutions Guide, and it's white. Do you see that?
I've got the Natural Solutions Guide.
That's the class handout. That's what I use at every class.
Okay, this one?
Yep, and if you open it up to the inside flap, the inside cover, on the back of that is a picture of a medicine cabinet. And that's where I focus the majority of my class. My classes are now down to like 35 minutes. I'm pretty, I shouldn't say proud. I'm excited about that because it used to be an hour. And so I break it up too. And there's questions there and there's like, you know, conversation and we're communicating back and forth. It's not just all me talking. But on the medicine cabinet page, I only spend 10 minutes and I talk specifically about the bottom shelf for the majority of the time. So it's kind of by theme. The bottom shelf is what we'll use every day in our home. The middle shelf is how we reduce the toxic load of our home. And the top shelf are these essential oils for rainy day. Yes, totally. The essential oils on the bottom shelf are the ones we use every day. So like lemon to help cleanse the body, On Guard to help boost the immune system, and frankincense for cellular support. And then of course the toothpaste, because you got to brush your teeth every day. But I actually never talk about that one because it's obvious and it's there in the picture. So I just talk about the Lifelong Vitality Pack, the Terrazyme, and the probiotic on the bottom shelf. And then the oils themselves is at the end of the class. And that's just like briefly, everybody kind of smells it and goes over it. Maybe Emily can speak to that, or maybe she's still with Rose. No, I do not sample at my classes. I do not, no. Because they're getting the experience there. So they've either been sampled to get in the seat or they need a sample after the class because they didn't enroll. I would say a good 95% of people that attend that can afford it, enroll that day. And if they can't afford it, I find a way for them to be able to still get oils. So they'll get a membership and then the intro kit. So it's $55. They'll get 3 of the top 3 oils, lemon, lavender, and peppermint for $25. And then the membership is $35. So they get the $35 membership, which is what gets them into our community, gets them into the private Facebook page, so they can get the product education and gets them a wellness consult. And so they're excited about the membership. They're excited about getting those little 3 oils. And that's all we really want. Like we talked about last week, is just getting people in the door, and then we'll figure out how to help them with that later. Because doTERRA does give away so many free products with every purchase that they'll be able to afford it. Like you can still do doTERRA on a budget is what I'm trying to say. It's not out of everyone's price range. There are so many different kits. There are so many different ways to get started. But if I have people sitting in a chair, and Emily too, at Emily's class, and Crystal enrolls people too. I mean, if you can get people in front of you and they're experiencing the oils, they don't need a sample because they're going to buy right there. Emily, I love the Natural Solutions Guide because you don't have to talk about every oil. It's not an oil breakdown of what every oil does. It's focusing on big picture wellness. Yes. Yes. I'm so glad that doTERRA has gotten over that, or the culture of doTERRA has gotten over how the 101 used to be. And it's focusing so much more on this lifestyle, which then provides us an opportunity to be able to create a business out of it and not just sell people kits. You guys are awesome. You posted a video of Jackie Ritz doing a mock one-on-one and how to help them enroll in their budget. Yes. See, these videos are so good. So if you haven't had the chance to go back, or if you've been like, okay, let me go back and say this again. If you haven't been keeping up with the homework, and no judgment, we all have a life, I totally get it. And I just want you to start from where we are now, like week 4, and then circle back around after we're done, or when you have the time and you're in the car or whatnot, and just push play and like listen to those videos, because there are some really, really good nuggets. And after like years of doing this, I only post the videos that I know are the very best. And Emily is the same. Yes, exactly. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna click stop record.